Howdy folks, happy November. I'm Natalie and I'm gonna be making a batch of kombucha, which I'm sure you can look online and find like 50 other videos that are better than this one. I don't know yet because I haven't made it yet, but here we go. So here is my kombucha that I do date with, like, it's a, you can't really see, but I just use what are they called? Dry erase marker on here to show the date that I made this, which was September 19th. So this is going to be a strong batch, totally fine. I have my handy dandy little FY5 little hanky here to keep bugs and dirt out and stuff, but you want something that's breathable, not a lid, just a rubber band. So, whee. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get this kombucha out into these bottles. I've yet to buy a funnel, so I use my Vitamix thing as a pourer. And I have another jar here. I also just have a little cloth over with other old scobies and just a little bit of liquid. So, wash your hands. We like to keep our scobies clean and happy. Alright, so you're just gonna kind of plop it in there, and we'll be putting one of those back. From what I've found, it doesn't really matter which SCOBY. I've been making kombucha on and off for a handful of years, and I don't know, I've come up with a way that works for me, but I'm sure there are multiple ways. It's pretty hard to really kill them off, except for I did lose like all of my kombucha scobies and batch to some sort of weird mold once. Then I took a couple years of break from that, and now I'm back at it. Okay, so this is like a gallon jug. Just gonna pour it in here so I can pour it in my bottles. And also, I don't personally do the secondary fermentation thing because the explosion thing kind of scares me. But I do know that if you want to, this would be where you would add some sort of fruit or something with natural sugar in there. And then I guess you need to burp it every few days. I guess that just means taking the lid off occasionally, making sure it to relieve some pressure. And that creates some natural carbonation. You can, though, mix it with carbonated beverages if you really want the bubbles, like carbonated water, or I did it with ginger beer the other day. My personal favorite is to make a large pot of tea and then drink whatever I want when it's hot, and then I'll put the stuff in the fridge and then mix it, just herbal tea with the kombucha. That kind of cuts it nicely because, like I said, this has been sitting for a long time and it's going to be pretty potent, which isn't a bad thing. Alright, so I've got 2 full here, and get another thingy. And sometimes there's like a lot of gunk at the bottom, which it'll just sink to one of those bottles, so you might as well put it all in there. It's not going to hurt you. Another thing though is you do want to reserve about a cup or so to put in the next batch. So I'm going to put that in here. I'll just fill it all the way up because I want to have some left to keep the scobies hydrated. All right, now another way I like to store it is in old kombucha bottles. So I'll grab a couple of those down and fill these guys up. This would be where, if I was like a movie editor, I'd probably just fast forward through this part, but sorry, you get to hang out with me for even longer. Alrighty, so that's one batch that I normally let it sit for a month. This was much longer than normal. And so I've got 2 full, I forget what these are called, they have a fancy name, 2 full bottles and 2 little bottles from one batch, which usually keeps me going about a month, depending how much I'm home. Okay, next, I should have started this because this takes a while. I personally like to boil like I make really strong sweet tea basically. And when you put the scobies back in, you want the water to be not too cold, not too hot. So what I do is then just fill up that really hot tea with cold water and make sure it's about lukewarm. So while I'm doing this, I'm gonna wash this guy out. I try to wash it out every time just to keep things clean around here. So what else can I talk about? Kombucha's so fun and so expensive in the stores, but also incredibly cheap to make by yourself. The only things that we'll be needing from here on out are just some regular tea. I just buy black tea. Green tea works great too. I know people that use herbal tea. So whatever you feel like using. And then, so say you want to make kombucha but don't know where to start. I've heard it is possible to start with just the regular stuff from the store and try to get a SCOBY that way. But my favorite way is just to go on Craigslist or say Facebook Marketplace and search free SCOBY. SCOBY is spelled S-C-O-B-Y. And usually you end up meeting some nice people in your community that are so happy to give away SCOBY, because if they're like me, you end up with like a whole weird jar of them. If anyone would like a SCOBY, I live in Lyons, Colorado. They're always free. Also, it's kind of really lame if people charge for them. I've run into that, and I think it's stupid, because, like, why? Okay. Also, tiny teapot. That is definitely going to be gurgling water here in a second, so don't be alarmed. It's just how things work in my nice little baby kitchen here. So I personally just put these right in the fridge. They don't carbonate anymore on themselves. I just drink them when I want. And now while I'm waiting, I might as well have a small glass from, I'm going to put in my cat cup today. Okay. So this smells like kombucha. That's singing and good. So, to get my sweet tea ready, I'm going to gather eight tea bags, or the equivalent of 8 loose tea bags. I still have yet to get one of those giant tea balls, which I will get someday. I kind of like how finely the tea is ground in the little bags. I accidentally bought the ones with strings on them, which is kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's fine. And then, so 8 tea bags, 1 cup of sugar is the amount that I use. I'm sure there are lots of varying recipes. And I can tell that water is hot. So, just to be able to gather these quickly, I've never actually bought this kind with the tags. Oh, this is annoying. Alright, that was a good idea, but alright. So, in goes, I usually fill this up like, I don't know, less than half full of water. In this case, just however much my little baby teapot will hold, which isn't a ton. That's okay. You just need to make some strong tea. I'd like to figure out how to get this so it's not chopstick. Maybe. Well, that was a good idea, except this is too tall. Okay, anyways, not your problem. Maybe I'll just have some paper flavored kombucha this time around. Wait, rubber band. There we go. Thank you, brain. Good job. Okay, and it doesn't really matter. You can put the cup of sugar in now, or wait till it's done. I usually wait till it's done because I've been to England and apparently you don't add the sugar until the tea is fully brewed. So, not too bad. All right, so I have my cup of tea, a cup of sugar ready, and I've got the tea in there. And really, it's just kind of letting that steep. It's just tea, so you can kind of let it go longer than your average cup of tea, I would say. It should go a couple minutes, 3, 5, I don't know. Let's see here. What else can I tell you that's just fun about kombucha? I'm gonna be very impressed if you're still watching at this point, because it's like almost 11 minutes of a video. Sorry about that. But, so you just sit here, drink here. Drink it this way so you can see the cap. It's looking good. Oh, I'll rinse out my blender. And oh yeah, so if you do ever start to see signs of mold growing like on the top of, so basically we're gonna put the SCOBY and it kind of floats to the top, and that's normal. And then every new batch of new SCOBY forms on top. It's like magic. And if you see like some dotted mold kind of form on top, that's what happened to me once. And I would not recommend drinking that kombucha. Probably just throw everything out and start over, unfortunately. Or get a new SCOBY. Yep, let me get my dry erase marker so I can mark the date on here. 1 second. Alright, we're going with red. So, 11, is it 11/11? Wow. Okay. That's lots of lines. 11 dash 11. All right, I'm gonna call this tea steeped. All right, now here's a fun little pro tip for any of you that have like compost. I keep my house fairly humid for instrument reasons, but I have a nice little thing that I just like put coffee filters and tea here to dry until it's ready to go into the compost, because I don't know, it smells less that way. All right, and I'm sure there's a more safe way to do that and not burn your fingers, but that's cool. Okay, so we have, voila, very sweet tea. You could probably use a bigger spoon, but it's hot enough that'll dissolve soon enough. Alright, so to add the water, add the rest of the cold water because I need to like be able to lift it and not spill everything. I just use a little, this guy, on the nozzle, and I put it as cold as it can because again you want it to be lukewarm for sure. Oh, if you can't see what's going on right now, this is what's going on right now. Totally off topic, fun thing, I went to my first Nia class today, and that was a lot of fun. There's dancing, there's freeform dancing too. Okay, so now it's like, ooh, who's the lucky SCOBY gonna be? I'm just gonna grab, I guess the one that's on top is kind of that bigger one that was the original SCOBY from the last batch, which is totally fine. Sometimes they get this like darker stuff on there. You can try to get it off if you want, but I think it's fine. Yeah, and they can like really grow. It's real, ooh. Okay, so you put that right in, and then again, I don't know, about a cup of old, already made kombucha. I clearly don't measure. I just fill it up to about yay full. And then put our little FY5 hanky back over. Rubber band. There we go. There's the bigger one. and try to store it in a place where it doesn't get sun. You know, it doesn't get, you want it to be warm enough because it's a live thing. I think it dies after, if it gets below like, I don't know, 50s or something. So don't quote me on that. But you don't want it too hot. Definitely don't want it too cold. It's gonna, I think, ferment faster the warmer it is. I keep it in the corner of my counter where it gets no sun, and maybe isn't the ideal temperature for it, but it sure works. And there you have it. That's been my contribution to Knowvember. 15 minutes of kombucha making. Thanks, guys.